Okay, great, great. Thank you for the response. Thank you. The sound was not there. It was muted for some time, for some reason. Welcome, all of you. Great to have all your presence. And today we are getting into the space of mind. And already I feel all of you are little confused. What happened to the sound? The voice is coming across, and that thing also is little making us. Uh, what is happening? There is a concern for that. Yeah, so now I think the voice has come. Thank you very much for all your responses, all your immediate feedback, so that I could come back on this. Thank you very much. Yeah, my voice, my video, and the picture. I think now it's all good. Thank you very much. So in today's session, as I mentioned, we are getting into the space of mind and how to heal the sufferings in the mind. We'll understand the sufferings in life are having only two residents. Either they stay in the body or in the mind. And they are so interrelated. When the body is suffering, mind also suffers. When the mind is suffering, body also suffers. So we will talk about the sufferings in the mind. Is it now fine? The voice is coming, all good, everything is coming fine. Just let me know if my voice is coming across fine. Yeah, no voice yet, that's what Rita ji is saying. Is it true for others? Just let me know. A feedback would help me. Voice good, you can write that. Voice is good, voice coming across. Yeah, Ashish, good to see you. All good. Yeah, great. Wow, fabulous. Thank you. I think it's clear. Great, voice is fine. Thank you, Monalisha. So now, coming to the point, the problems in the mind we need to understand first, and then we are going to get in and fix them. Maybe we have to take some specific path, some strategy that we have to adopt so that mind can be handled in a better manner. So let's get in and understand what are these challenges of mind. We'll talk about three specific challenges first. As I mentioned in earlier live streams, awareness is half the cure. That means if we understand the problem that we are going through, that itself can help you heal 50% or maybe more. So we will understand what are the causes, what are the reasons why the mind suffers. That's what we are getting into. Now we will see, one is the situation trigger, which leads to emotional responses, survival emotions. We'll try to understand this. What exactly is this? In the transactional world, in our day to day life, we have challenges for sure. We have problems in office, problems at home, some kind of physical issues, health issues. Sometimes it is about money. We lose money in the market, or we sometimes lose the money in business. So many things that happen around us. Each one of us, every day, we have multiple situations happening with us. We call it the transactions that happen through the day. Every day, all of us, we go through different transactions, and that transaction, that issue, that situation, that environment can lead to some kind of emotionality, and we term them as survival emotion. I'll try to explain this a little bit by taking you through the understanding of this subconscious mind. What exactly happens when we are in a situation? Let's understand this. Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? That situations trigger negative emotions many times. And this is probably practical. We see somebody is not well, and I feel so worried, concerned, that leads to some kind of action. Do you agree with this? Just write agree. There is a problem in my business, so finances, I'm losing money, so I have to tighten up my situation or my things, my systems. Maybe I have to take immediate recourse so that I can get in and fix that situation. Do you agree? Just write agree. That also gives me a feedback that you're getting my voice. Some people are still not getting, it seems. Yeah, agree. Thank you, Jairamji. Thank you very much. SLS, that's the name coming on the screen. Vivekji, thank you. Great. So agree, that's what you say. You are agreeing with the situation is causing some negativity, and it happens with everyone, all of us. Situation triggers negative emotions. Now, we need to understand something at the subconscious mind level. We discussed this picture in earlier live streams, which is talking about the subconscious mind, which is the programmed mind. Understand, remember this, just right, remember. Some of you, if you're for the first time, let me tell you what exactly does it mean. The subconscious mind is the programmed mind. Many people ask me in many of the conferences or sessions, where is the subconscious mind? Is it the left side of the brain? Is it the right side of the brain? Or is it the heart? Where is it? In essence, subconscious mind is not a thing. It's software which has been loaded on. And please do visit and go through the recordings or the sessions or the videos that we have already shared, which will give you a sense what exactly is subconscious mind. And the description of those videos, the links of those videos are there in the description itself. You can click and go there and check what exactly is the subconscious mind. But just to give you a quick recall, it's the programmed mind, conditioned mind. Programming has happened in three different ways, as we have discussed already. One, anybody who can quickly respond, anybody who can quickly remember what are the different programming processes. One is nature. Genetically, we have been programmed. Two, we have been programmed because of the situation, scenario, upbringing, we call it nurture. And three, we are programmed because of our conscious choice. Meaning, I want to drive a car, so I learned the art of driving a car. I want to achieve something, so I studied. That also programmed me. Many things I do per choice, and that programs me. We call it conscious choice. These are the only three processes which programs us. Nevertheless, the subconscious mind is the programmed mind. Now, in the programmed mind, the responses are also programmed. For example, you would find sometimes somebody is criticizing you and you are very angry, agitated. You are responding with ferocity. You are just saying, what nonsense, what are you telling? Do you know about the background? We respond with furious anger. But at the same time, another individual, same criticism, may be very calm, completely calm, composed, organized, and taking a pause, knowing that this is false, but responding with a very different approach. Maybe firm, at the same time, not angry. Do you see the variation in responses? Are you seeing the variation in responses from different individuals? Just write variation. Variation in responses. There are varied responses. That variation is what we are looking at. That this is programmed. Our response is programmed to an extent. So, to these situations, to these challenges, different people respond differently. Now, this is where we would look at as we go further and find out what are the approaches so that from this challenge we are safe or better improving. That means there is a situation and my response is anger. There is a situation, my response is fear. There is a situation, I am very worried. There is a situation, I am stressed, anxiety. These situational triggers, what we call stimulus and response, we can manage by doing something. Variation, great, great, great. So, variation is what happens when we see our internal condition is different. Two different individual, their programming is different, conditioning is different, so responses vary. Responses vary. varied responses. That's what we see in different individual. We will see a very interesting aspect of this, not just about different individuals. The same individual under two different situation, having two different mindset, can have varied responses. We'll come back to this point. But do you agree with this? Sometimes I'm in a mind state and somebody is criticizing, I'm taking it easy. But at other times, I'm little agitated inside, restless inside. Somebody is criticizing, I'm responding with a lot of anger. Do you see the same individual also there is variation? Variation in same individual. So same individual also may have variation of responses. That's what we will also look at as we go further into this space, how we can heal our mind, change our responses. Now, I will take to the next aspect. Next aspect is, so this will hold for the time being. Each one of these aspects will take up slowly, understanding how to handle these aspects. First, let's understand the totality. What are the three aspects? What are the three situations or three different reasons why our mind is suffering? First, we understood because of situations, the triggers which are coming, we are responding, and that response is a negative emotion. And that negative emotion is leading to internal turbulence, and we are suffering. So, we will look at that as we come back to this aspect. The second aspect is negative emotional state by default. This is somewhere we need to be concerned about. Some people will find by default they are having negativity. That means the situation is neutral. There's nothing. It's neutral situation. You are just sitting at home, but you are having internal turbulence. You are having some kind of agitation inside. You are feeling that tomorrow there'll be challenge. You are feeling that yesterday there were problems and you're remembering, recalling those things, and you are having difficulty with regard to that. Do you agree? Do you agree with this? Sometimes by default, we are having challenges. By default, we are having challenges. Yeah. This is what we discussed in one of the sessions. Happy mind and unhappy mind, sometimes by default it happens. Sometimes by default this happens. So what is this? How we can handle this? What are the issues which pertain to this default state of being? Where is the problem? That problem we need to find out. If you remember, we discussed about something called human trap. The human trap is one of the reasons for this, where we have some tendencies in our mind, tendencies in our mind, and each of these tendencies, they are trying to keep the mind in survival state. We call it human trap. If you remember this, right, the human trap, again, I would urge all of you, if you have not attended that session, you need to go to the videos that are there in the channel and go to that particular session to understand what is that human trap. What is it? And that human trap, let me give you quickly some idea about the human trap and how this human trap actually creates problem in our life. And that creates a default situation we suffer, a default situation of suffering. What is the first trap? Remember? Yeah, Sanyaji, great. Human traps, correct. Human traps is what we need to again have a quick recap of that, because this leads to a default state of the mind wherein we suffer. And we'll understand it for few moments quickly. One is the holding on trap, wherein by default mind has a tendency to always go back to a situation, to an event in life which typically is negative. It brings to the present moment and lets us suffer in that. Holding on trap, we hold on to that. We are not having the proficiency of releasing it. We are holding on and suffering in that trap. Holding on to a past memory leads to suffering. Again, by default, we have this tendency. Or we may be having uncertainty trap. By default, I'm projecting a negative scenario. What will happen to my life? What will happen to my family? What will happen to my job? So what will happen creates a lot of uncertainty inside, and I suffer in that state. Now it's absolutely fine. I'm at home, I'm having everything, but sometimes we have a tendency to think about the future and think it may be a negative outcome. Rather, it would be a negative outcome, and we start feeling it at such level, we feel that is real. I'll have disease, I will die. So many people, when I talk to them, they are so concerned that they will die. Everyone will die. Nobody there who is immortal. But still, that concern that I will die sometime, I'll have disease, I'll have problem with money, I'll have problem with my job, I'll have problem in my family. All this stuff's uncertainty trap. Yeah, tendencies. Yeah, so tendencies are what creating our mind a default, giving a mind a default state. If the tendency is going beyond certain threshold, then we are in that state of mind and we attract those emotional conditions which are in alignment with that trap. We'll talk about them as well. What are the other traps? Quickly we'll look at me and my relationship trap. We are having issues with relationship, and we do not know. Every time there is a relationship issue, I'm in turbulence. That means I have expectations from relationships, and that creates a tendency of having disturbed relationship. That tendency again may lead to a default state of suffering. Next, autonomy trap. Always feeling being confined. I am not having freedom. That lack of sense of freedom. Always feeling I'm overwhelmed. Time is not sufficient for me. Whatever I'm doing, as if I'm doing it as a slave. In fact, in many of the corporate workshops, people come in private, they come closer and saying, do you know, I'm in a job, but I'm feeling as if I'm a slave out there because I do not want to do what I'm doing. I'm feeling like slavery. I'm in slavery. I'm a slave. So we are feeling confined because the job I'm doing, I'm not in alignment with that. I'm not liking that because of my values, maybe because of my capacity, capability, skills, proficiency. Feeling very confined, very limited in that space. So, autonomy trap. We also talk about the identity trap, what we call the name, fame, status, identity trap. We always want to be little above the rest of the league. We talk about changing your league. People who are there in my space, I always want to little above them. That's what is a natural human tendency. The moment we feel that we are going down, others are going up, that creates a lot of internal turbulence. A promotion, having a great big car, having a big house and showing it off, all these are natural. These are natural. I cannot say that we should do or should not do this. These are tendencies, but if that goes beyond a certain level, that can create a lot of dissonance, a lot of internal suffering. Yeah, understanding this, clear about this. So next is the sense of unfairness, injustice. This again is a tendency. If a threshold, it goes beyond the threshold, always we feel that you are at the receiving end and others are getting more advantage and you are somehow underprivileged. You are not given the right thing. You are not getting what we deserve. There we feel that everything happening to me and in my life is injustice. Universe is unfair to me. This again is a tendency. So these are internal state of beings which lead to the negative emotion by default. Depression, anxiety, you do not know. Many people say, I don't know why I feel anxious. I have this is happening to me. So these are things where we need to be aware of why this is happening. What is the reason of this thing happening in my life? Yeah, this is the second aspect. We'll now look at. So this is basically by default you have a negative tendency. You have some kind of negative aspect by default. You have to see what exactly is that trap which is putting you in that space of negativity. Now the third one, which is again a very powerful, very important, very deep aspects in our life. If you are not taking cognizance of that, we may also be in trouble, which most of us, we do not put sufficient effort to embrace, learn, or develop that particular skill. That skill, that proficiency is so important. A cluttered, distracted, wandering mind. What exactly does it mean? Mind is distracted, thoughts are distracted. And this one aspect can lead to other three aspects, other two aspects. So this can itself be cure for everything. We call it wandering mind. The mind is completely distracted. What exactly is the difference between the three? Let me share with you now. This aspect is about cognitive dissonance, the cognitive aspect, the thinking aspect of the mind. If we have the skill to manage our thoughts, to manage our alignment, the streaming of the mind, flow of the mind, we will be happier. In fact, if the mind is cluttered, mind is all the time having disturbance because it doesn't know how to move further. Lot of everything is disturbing the mind. Thoughts are not in alignment. We may have a lot of problem in our life. Multiple thoughts, they pop up in the mind, whereas the previous two are more to do with emotions. This has more to do with thought, more to do with the thought, and more to do with the mind in terms of cognitive mind. Let me give you why this is one of the reasons of unhappiness. Every species, every animal has got some strength. Human beings, if you look at, what is our strength? Our strength is our mind. If you look at the elephant, it is the sheer bulk, the power that elephant has. For its survival, it needs that power. It has a trunk. It knows that it can attack and finish its, you know, any kind of predator out there. A lion, it can attack and kill animals. Deer, it can run fast. Similarly, each of the animals or birds or any species, they have got some strength. And if that strength is low, if it is less, then they feel very uncertain about their survival. That uncertainty about the survival leads to a lot of internal pain, suffering, and dissonance. Any animal, if some animal is not able to run and the strength is running, then it will feel very insecure and it will in fact die. Even if it doesn't, no predator comes, it will die because there is an uncertainty about the survival. Similarly, in human beings, our mind is our strength. Just mention mind is strength. For human being, the strength is mind. Our power is mind, right? Mind power, that's better. Mind is our power. And we can feel very insecure if mind is not aligned, mind is not working, if mind has challenge. And in modern science, in especially in the contemplative neuroscience, it's not my version. The wandering mind is unhappy mind. That's what has been written out there. It's not my statement. This is by Dr. Richard Davidson, who is one of the most regarded, revered figures in the domain of contemplative neuroscience. He is actually doing numerous research in this field of contemplative neuroscience. That means how the mind is working. And primarily, they're doing research on yogis, on monks who are from India. Dr. Richard Davidson and Daniel Goleman. These are the two persons who have written a book. The name of the book is power of meditation. The power of meditation, and sorry, the science of meditation, not power of meditation, the science of meditation. Science of meditation, if you're buying it in India, the name of the book is Science of Meditation. In Western countries and in other countries, the name of the book is Altered Trait. Altered Trait. Trait means our innate qualities. Altered traits means they are saying by doing meditation, you can transform your traits, change your internal deep rooted qualities, including some of the genetic signatures, some of the genetic aspects, codings, as we discussed the other day as well about a book named Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, where he's also talking about by changing the mind state, by changing our conscious state of being, we can change genetic expression. Precisely, that's what also is being mentioned in this book, The Science of Meditation, wherein it is about that wandering mind, how to calm down that wandering mind, and that alone and alone can change the whole game for us, the whole lifestyle for us, the whole journey of life for us. That's what very emphatically Dr. Richard Davidson is saying, that a wandering mind is an unhappy mind. If mind is always wandering, it is unhappy. Why? Because the mind then knows this is weak. I do not have the power of the mind. And the moment you feel the power of the mind is less, internally, you feel that you are having less chance of survival because that is your strength. So, working on the mind to align the mind is what we need to work upon. We need to go through. We need to find out ways and means by which we can change the state of our mind. So, three aspects we talked about, three powerful aspects that we talked about. What are they? Why the mind is suffering? Because of three reasons. Reason number one, because of external stimuli. The things which is happening outside me at this very moment is leading to an internal expression which is negative, which is survival oriented. The moment I'm expressing my survival orientation, I am in danger. That's what is the feedback to the body. They call it fight or flight response. Internally, I feel worried, concerned, fearful, scared, angry. All these things, they happen. Now, what to do about that? How to deal with this? What should we do that we are far better in responding to external stimulus? Yeah. What can we do about that? What is it that we can do about the external? Let's give you few clues today, and following that, we will work on each of these aspects in the coming sessions. But today, we are going to take the first step. We call it find out the first aspect or the most important aspects where you are having negative emotions. Find out those situations which are triggering negative emotions in you. For example, criticism is triggering negative emotion. For example, going to a meeting itself can trigger negative emotion in some people. Going on to a stage for public speaking, it can make you feel uncertain. Going to a Even when there is a relationship disturbance, you are having that negative emotion. Facing your boss can be something which can trigger negative emotions. In essence, we ask people to first identify the situation, identify the response where you are having the predominant negative emotions. Write this predominant negative emotion. Each one of us, we have a predominant survival emotion. What is that? Some people are fearful, some people are angry. Anger is their predominant survival emotion. Fear is their predominant survival emotion. Worry, concern is their survival emotion predominant. You can find this out. Just figuring this out, just finding your predominant survival emotion, you can find do a lot of good to yourself. So first step, write that predominant survival emotion, PSE. If you understood this, predominant survival emotion. Many people say, I'm very angry, short tempered, because their predominant survival emotion is anger. Some people say, I am very scared. Small thing here and there, I feel absolutely like frozen, because fear is their predominant survival emotion. Similarly, there are many. Sorrow can be a predominant survival emotion. So we need to first figure out the predominant survival emotion. That's number one. Yeah. Are you getting it? If you got it, the predominant survival emotion, some of you can choose to write also what is your predominant survival emotion. Just this awareness is such an empowering thing in your life. Knowing that I become angry for such things, predominant survival emotion. We'll come to the next aspect. It's not done. Yeah, PSE, predominant survival emotion. The second thing we will see, that the situation which is leading to the predominant survival emotion, situation which is leading to predominant survival emotion. And we will also see that some situations are recurring so that your predominant survival emotion is coming again, again, and again. This is first awareness. First awareness. Yeah, some people are writing fear, some are writing anxiety, or it's like sadness. It varies from people to people, it may vary. Yeah, anger, it can vary. So predominant survival emotion we need to look at. What is it that is my predominant survival emotion? I express it most of the time when I get a stimulus. There is one more. You will find that that predominant survival emotion is sometimes suppressed and replaced by another. Let me tell you, let me give an example. You have a predominant survival emotion of anger, let's say, and that anger, the moment you get, let's say, your child is saying you something and you are immediately angry. That situation of child disobeying you or doing something which you do not want to do, letting you be angry, and you are expressing that anger out there, your predominant survival emotion is expressed. At the same time, the same predominant emotion is there when the boss is saying something. You are angry inside and you are suppressing that anger. Another predominant or another emotion is probably overlapping that. You are fearful at that time. That fear is little overlapping with your anger. You are angry inside, but the fear of not expressing anger is there. If I express my anger, I may lose my job. Another emotion may come. So you have to now find out few things. Predominant emotion that you want to express, situations where you express them, situation where you suppress them, and other emotions they come and overshadow that. Understanding this can do a lot of good to ourselves. So this is awareness, knowing my emotionality with respect to situations, with respect to challenges. Now what to do? We will do, or we will take up each one of this. Anger, how to handle them. Stress, how to handle them. Worry, how to handle them. Fear, how to handle them in subsequent sessions, because each one of them, they need certain approach, certain specific techniques depending on situations. But your first task, the first aspect with respect to this is awareness, knowing your predominant survival emotion, knowing the situations where you are having those emotions, and of course the next approach is how to change them. We'll talk about them in the future sessions, but already we have discussed about the aspect of reprogramming the mind in previous live streams. Please go back to them. Affirmation and visualization. Affirmation and visualization. Work with them. Construct those situations to change your predominant survival emotions under those situations. Please do start with this. Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Please mention out there. Of course, we'll take you through detailed, deeper, specific approaches for each one of these predominant survival emotions in coming days. But for now, can we do this? Just mention committed. Please do commit to yourself. If you have not gone through those earlier sessions, live streams, go back to them. The link is available in the description. Please go back to them and learn those aspects. Simple steps: how to visualize, how to do affirmation, and start working with your predominant survival emotion under situations. Now you can change it. Absolutely, you are empowered to change them once you are aware of them. Awareness is power. 50% done by awareness. Next 50%, following strategies you can do by applying affirmation and visualization, as we have discussed in earlier sessions, and in detail specific we'll take up in further future sessions. Great, great, great. I can see committed, and yes, you're taking it up. Wonderful. Let's all take up and be committed to this practice. Now, this is the first one. Second one is by default, how and why we are negative. By default, we are negative because of programmings. As I said, reason for this is human trap. Today, the second task is, that means, what is it that is leading to my default conditions? Am I concerned because of past memories? Am I concerned because of the future uncertainties? Am I concerned about my relationships? Am I concerned about my autonomy? Typically, autonomy would mean about your job or your responsibility. You may be a housewife or house husband. That responsibility is what is haunting you. You are rushing or fighting, or you're competing against time. Time is always ahead of you, or you're not able to catch up. So that is one of the reasons which may be leading to that default state. So what is the default state of being? Or is it your status, always thinking about how I'll be more popular, how more people will like me, follow me, and listen to me? Or is it always I think it's unfair happening to me, unfairness? So that is what we need to find out what is your default state, and what is it that is causing that default state. How to change this default state? How to change this default state? I'm going to give you right away, right now, a powerful hack to change the default state of being. And this is a powerful meditative process, but I'll just explain this, and you can get the link of it later on. We'll take you through that specific 5 minutes process, which will be shared in the live session in the description itself. You can go through that as well. Now, what is it? We call it nature's vaccine practice. A practice wherein you will transform your default state to a calm, composed, compassionate, kind, loving state of being. That means if nothing, everything is good right out there, you are shifting, drifting into that calm state, drifting into that kind state of being, that state of gratitude, the feeling of gratitude and love for others, unconditionality. What you need to do for this? Nature's vaccine, in the cognitive science, this kind of things are also known as a cognitive reappraisal. I'm reappraising my mind. I'm telling my mind that what you have been following now, thinking now, till now is wrong, false. I'm breaking that falsity with a new logic. The logic is something like this. Follow this, listen to this extremely powerful logic. I'll give my example to explain what exactly does it mean, how we can transform this unhappy state of being to a happy mind by default. What is it? This is an example of everyone. When in the childhood we are vaccinated, when in the childhood we are vaccinated, sometimes we feel that this vaccination is a punishment. Do you see that? This vaccination is a punishment for me. This vaccination is given to me as a punishment. When I was very small, I still remember the first time when it was very painful. My parents are holding my hands, and a lady nurse is pushing that needle into my flesh. I was just thinking, what is this? How can my parents be so cruel to me, pushing that needle into my tender flesh? I'm crying, but no impact on them. How can they be so cruel? The reason why I was thinking in that manner, I was feeling it was unfair. I was feeling helpless. I was feeling as if I'm being punished because I'm ignorant of the fact that vaccine is something which is super powerful to give me that immunity to protect me from disease in future. That antibodies will be generated inside which will fight the viruses and I'll be safe. That ignorance was causing to feel that I'm being punished. This logic, I'm now expanding it, I'm extrapolating it to my situations that are difficult, or my conditions which are letting me feel that I'm small or I'm helpless. What saying is, whatever is happening to me is nature's design. My wisdom is limited and nature's wisdom is vast. Like when I was a little child, my understanding was limited. My parents, they knew that I need the vaccines for my better life and future. Similarly, I have no clue where from I have come. I have no idea when and how I'll leave this planet and go somewhere else, or it's the end of it. No idea about that. But nature knows it all because it has seen species and human beings and lives have flown through this nature, and nature has a design, and that design I have to embrace. So when nature has brought me here, it has also the idea how should I go and grow. All the challenges that are coming to me are like vaccines to help me grow in life, evolve my soul. This, people sometimes ask me, is this a fact or this is just a thought? My answer always is I do not know. Absolutely, I have no clue, no idea whether this is a thought or this is a truth. But one thing I know for sure, the moment you practice this, the moment you embrace this philosophy that nature is taking care, and any challenge, any problem, anything happening to me right now is nature's design to help me to grow. This thought is for sure is going to elevate you, evolve you, change your mindset, transform your mind from unhappy state to the happy state. By default, you'll feel secured. Unconditionally, you will feel being in a sanctuary of love and care. Because there you are saying nature has a vast, expansive wisdom compared to what I have, and that wisdom is taking care of me. And every problem that comes is just like a vaccine strengthening me to move further. So, what I tell at that point in time, another nature's vaccine or another cognitive reappraisal, I'm telling myself, I'm getting a challenge right now, and I urge, oh nature, give me the antibodies, the power to overcome this. I accept, I let go, I proceed. I accept, I let go, and I progress. My life is progressing. I know this challenge is required for me to move further, progress further in life. Any problem, anytime I feel low, anytime I feel limited, just do practice this. A cognitive reappraisal, just feel that nature's vaccine, that's why I'm feeling low, and this will help me evolve as I ask nature to give me the power to progress further. Every situation that has happened in the past, going to happen in the future, is designed so I am absolutely safe and secure. If you understood this, if you got this cognitive reappraisal, just write nature's vaccine or NV. Commit to nature's vaccine. Write ICNV. I commit to nature's vaccine. Anytime you are facing a challenge, anytime you are feeling low, anytime you are feeling deprived, you're feeling hopeless, bring in this practice, nature's vaccine. Write ICNV. I commit to nature's vaccine. Super powerful hack. Of course, we'll go for detailed aspect about how to change this default state to a positive state in a future live stream. But for now, just take up ICNV. I commit to nature's vaccine. Wonderful, wonderful, great. So that commitment, let me tell you, this commitment that anytime I'm having a difficulty in my mind, I bring in nature's sanctuary. I'm in the sanctuary of nature. Just this change in your approach to different situations can help you overcome the default condition. The default condition has to be calm, blissful, joyful, and settled. Now, coming to the third one, which of course we'll have some time to discuss, but at the same time, the third one is about taking care of the cognitive aspect. What is it? The third aspect is about thoughts, positivity about our thoughts, how to change the thought patterns, how to organize our mind. This typically means the third one, which we discussed about the the aspect of mind, thought, how the thoughts are flowing, how I organize my mind. It's about taking charge of my mind. And this is possible when we do certain practices. We call it the wandering mind. The wandering mind has to be managed. How we can take charge and do something so that our mind is not wandering anymore. What are the things that we can do? One of the practices which I help people with, which works for everyone, it is such a easy practice, one of the easiest practice that one can do to organize the mind, to work in the mind, to settle the mind and calm down the mind. That practice, I call it ABCDE practice, and I would urge all of you to do this practice so that you can literally manage your mind. Anytime you're feeling restless, the mind thoughts are going here and there, you're training your mind to be aligned, to be focused, to be in a state of meditation, to be creative, and working on empowering your mind. And this would be a possibility when you learn certain art. Mindfulness is one of the most powerful things that we can do. ABCD practice is one of the practices which I would suggest. And quickly, just I'll give you an idea of what is it, and we will also share the link of ABCD practice in the description of this video. So you can go there and practice ABCDE practice. A very powerful practice. Just by going through that, following that systematically, you can get yourself to a calm state and train your mind how it will not wander. It will not just go here and there and spoil your mind, your thoughts, and also your emotionality, and spoil your environment. So, how to train the mind to be aligned? How to train the mind to be creative, to remain in a positive state of being per choice. If I want to focus my mind on my studies, I'm there. If I want to focus my mind on my holiday, I'm enjoying the holidays. If I'm there to focus just on my family time, I'm enjoying that. Or if I'm doing a planning, doing exercise, I'm just engrossed in that particular aspect. That's a possibility when I'm working with my mind, especially the prefrontal lobe, the frontal part of the brain. It needs certain kinds of practices to help the rest of the mind to get aligned, to help the rest of the mind to get aligned. That practice is so very important. If we are not practicing it, then that faculty will not generate, not develop, not grow. Many of us, we do not have the practice. No school actually teaches this. We are not given that kind of an input, how to train our mind to be focused. So that aspect we need to learn. It's actually monitoring the mind, the aspect of monitoring the mind. That monitoring of the mind is also known as, in cognitive science they call it metacognitive awareness. How my mind is so aware. If I want to focus on sports, I'm just focusing on that. If I'm studying, I'm focusing on study. If I'm making a presentation, I'm completely engrossed, flowing with it. All my faculties are aligned there. I'm not distracted, not thinking about any other thing. Complete engrossment in one aspect. Whatever my mind wants, I'm doing that. That aspect we need to develop. So that will help us overcome the challenges of wandering mind. And wandering mind, if we can overcome that, other things will fall into place automatically. In fact, the third aspect is, probably it covers everything, the ability to make our mind aligned, focused. Quickly about the ABCD practice, I'll give you a quick idea what ABCD practice it is, and then you can go further to click on that link which will be shared in the description and go through that video as well. ABCD practice is actually, it's an acronym. It's an acronym where A stands for, A is anatomy check. A stands for anatomy check. Anatomy check means I'm just checking my body and sitting in a particular posture. The posture is spine straight and erect, and you are putting your palms upward on your lap. You can sit on a chair or on a mat, and eyes closed. This is first part, and you are checking that the entire body is relaxed. So relaxed body in this posture is anatomy check. You're checking your body is relaxed and in this posture. B is breath awareness. So you're going to your breath, becoming aware of the breath flow. Incoming breath, outgoing breath, you are paying all your attention there and being aware of the flow of the breath. Breath awareness takes about 10 seconds, 15 seconds at best. So A is anatomy check, 15, 10, 15 seconds. B is breath awareness, 10, 15 seconds. Then it is counting of the breath. So you have to count the breath in a particular pattern. That pattern you need to follow. And you'll get the detail of that in that link, where we have to start from 1, counting every breath up till 10. So 10 breaths we count, then we repeat 10. That means we reverse count from 10. So 1 to 10 we count, then reverse count from 10 to 0. 21 breaths. 1 to 10, then we start from 10, go to 0. 21 breaths. We flow with 21 breaths, counting each one of them. And we have every chance of getting distracted. So we then bring in that metacognitive awareness to monitor that I'm counting the right count. So every breath as I count, I remind myself I'm counting, and the next breath would be this. If I have just counted 3, next breath would be 4, and I will not lose track of counting. I'll be flowing with my breath, but not lose track of counting. So we'll do that for 21 breaths in one round, and then we do it 3 times. That means 63 breaths we continue with, and then we get to the state of complete calmness, which is known as E state. Now, having said these 3 things, first one, we have given you 3 tasks. Task number 1, identify your predominant survival emotion and the situation where it is surfacing and situation where it is suppressed. First task. Second task, your default state, what is it? Which trap it is falling in? And practicing nature's vaccine, which also will be shared. And third, where we try to manage our mind better, thoughts better, bringing in that attention to the thoughts, following a practice called ABCD. Again, the link will be shared. These three things we have just touched upon. Why mind goes, why we are having suffering in the mind? Because of these three situations or these three aspects in our mind. And then we'll pick up emotions which are predominant. Maybe how to manage anger, fear, anxiety, stress. Those are the things we'll slowly pick up and see how we can manage them in the best possible manner by following certain specific steps, by following certain specific technique for each one of them. In the following sessions, this week we'll take up each one of them and work on them. So far, just give me a quick idea about how the session was. How did you find it? And what are the things that you are going to do? I would love to get your feedback in this video in the description after the completion of the session so that I can take up those specific issues as well. You can give what are the specific issues you'd like to be discussed in our live streams. Share those things, and I have already received something. We will take up those things for sure, but also you can do it right now after the session so that we will choose and take one after the other so we cover most of the aspects that you need. Yeah, just a quick idea about how did you love this session? How was the session? Was it valuable? What was your experience? What you learned? We have learned a lot of things. I would urge all of you, in case you missed out, you could not follow, please go through the recording again and do that. All those who are listening to the recording, please also do give your suggestions and your feedback in the comment box. And I would urge all of you, if you liked the session, if you have liked the session, please do click on like so that this can reach out to a larger audience. That's how the algorithm work. So please do click on like if you liked it. If you loved the session, do click on like, and that would help this to go to a larger audience. Also, give your comments and share the link if you feel that this can help others. And as we are getting into specifics from tomorrow, this is actually an overview of why the mind is having problems. From tomorrow, we are going to look at specific things. And I would urge all of you, in case you have missed out the previous live streams, do click on the link which is at the end of the screen so that you can get to those specific aspects, those previous live streams, and watch them, which will give you more clarity and also understanding how to practice specific practices. Great to see all your wonderful feedback. I can see yeah, mind needs to be calmed. And as I always say, it needs practice, abhyasa. We have to continue practice. We need to work on our mind. Unfortunately, we give the least priority as the mind comes. Mind needs a lot of more priority, a lot of more focus. We have to devote some time for mind's practice. We have to give some time to our mind, which is actually our strength, that power we need to work upon. So please do work on your mind. Devote time. Devote at least 30 minutes every day. As we are, some of you are already part of my session, wherein we go for morning practice sessions, the quantum manifestation processes. So please do work on that. Please do focus on that, and focus on how you can improve your mind. Devote some time every day for improving your mind. I've given you a few tasks. Please carry that on. Please do that. You'll find a lot of benefit in that as well. Thank you very much. May God bless you, and look forward to see you again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on another live stream on specific aspects. Thank you. God bless. Take care.